Yes, we are just screaming here at the Please listen to the attached Tom. He was in our 70 class in here. Okay, so Judy. Okay, all right. Oh my goodness. Have you thought about flights for May 15th? Geez, oh man, I missed a call. Well, we're going to continue. So, if I just got off my 70B, and I'll tell you right now, I don't feel like talking about 70B anymore. So we are going to continue our discussion regarding the National Electrical Code. So let me leave that one. 70B, I got to close my 70B stuff. Close all of that. I'm closing that. All right, so we are back in 2023 code cycle. Hey, Felix. Thanks, buddy, for joining in. Good to see you, too. So I am, I don't know if you were, what I'm doing is I just got off of another call, and I am going to be covering 2023 code changes. So give me 1 second here. There we go. I had to just listen to a quick message while I called that up. All right, so I got to get my stuff together here. I don't need that. So I have Terra view. Ooh, okay, there's my Terra. There's my Terra, but I don't have, I need, what's this one? I'm pulling that over here and go to next edition. So let's see, make sure which one I got. I have over here. Gosh. This is what you get when you go live. That's the second draft. So I got to pull up the first draft. So I have first draft and second draft. So if you're following along, you should get open the first and second draft versions of the National Electrical Code out there on Terra, which is go to nfpa.org/next or just nfpa.org. Go to the next edition, open up both of those windows. That's what I've got opened up over here on this monitor. So, and I'm not going to show that because you need to log in, and I'm going to teach you how to fish. I'm teaching you how to fish. So this is what you do. You go to www.nfpa.org/70. 70 takes you straight to the National Electrical Code. You go to next edition, and you'll see here where you have the first draft report and the second draft report. Open both of these in two separate windows. And what I have them, I have two different instances of my browser open so I can compare them side by side. That's what I'm doing over on this monitor. You can do the same thing. So I'm closing that. And we left off, I believe, we talked about showroom windows earlier, and we're going to move into 210.65. So I want to get through Article 210. It's typically a pretty heavily used article, branch circuits. 210.65 meeting rooms is our next journey, next part of our journey together. Hopefully, yep. I'm not watching anything on, okay, 210.50 begins part 3, required outlets. 210.65. We did 210.63 meeting rooms. Here we go, meeting rooms. Oh my goodness. 210.65. Okay, so meeting rooms in the first draft. Meeting rooms in the first draft it changed a little bit. So what do I got? A didn't change. Floor outlets replaced major portion of floor space with fraction thereof. And that, I believe, that was done in the second revision. So in the second revision, the phrase or major portion of floor space is replaced with or fraction thereof. Control C. Control V. To show that the requirement is to have one floor outlet for each 215 square foot meeting room space or smaller. That's why they did that. So just basically what we're doing there, we're using standard terminology, fraction thereof. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm not going to do it right now, but I am going to fraction thereof, explain fraction thereof. I will add some text to explain that. I'm not going to do that right now, but I will add some text so that that is clear. Okay. That is a term that is used a lot, and we used it up above in show windows. We said at least one shall be installed top of each window, no point along the window. Actually, we may have deleted that, but in any case, we use that fraction thereof a lot within the National Electrical Code. So it will be interesting to make sure that we, and the other one is major fraction thereof. Fraction thereof, how do I edit that? Is there a way to, there we go, edit. And major fraction thereof. Okay, so there's various terms that we use. So I just want to make sure that you understand that. So reworded informational notes 1 and 2 for clarity, and hit close. Informational notes 1 and 2 were changed. Language was revised to meet the requirements of, yep, there we go, the style manual. So for clarity and to meet the requirements of 414 of the NEC style manual. So that style manual, I'm telling you, this cycle, there are a lot of changes around that are referring to the style manual. A lot of changes. So keep your eyes open for that. Now, in many cases, that does not change the intent of the code. So many of the changes in the National Electrical Code that deal with style manual are just readability and usability related, not technical. So, and that's all I have to say about that. All right. All right, so I'm just looking to check. I need to check. I'm waiting for some news. Oh man, anything? All right. Okay, so fraction thereof. I will identify that one. That is B. B, there's 1 receptacle outlets, no changes, 2 floor outlets. Not yet. Okay. All right. So that is everything. So the meeting rooms, pretty solid. There were public comments, public inputs that didn't get accepted. Public comments, you know, so we feel pretty good about, comfortable with the language that's in that. Now we get to 21070. I hope you are as excited as I am about 21070. All right, 21070, lighting outlets required. So let's do this. I'm going to look at, I'm just going to put the structure in, right? So the structure of 21070. What is 21070 deals with lighting outlets required. We're in 210, so lighting outlets are going to be on branch circuits. That's why they're in there. We have dwelling units. We have 1 habitable rooms. We have 2 additional locations. I'm just going to get the structure in for now, and then we're going to work our way down through. We have B, guest rooms and guest suites. And then we have C, all occupancies. Right? All right. So looks like A got a little love. Oh. All right. So that's heading 3. This is going to be heading 4. This is heading 4. And this is heading 4. These are heading 5. Bam. Okay, so now let's look at, remember when I said if you were following along my earlier discussion, I talked about parent text. So remember that this here is the section. The text that is in this location right after the section number, that's called parent text. This is a first level subdivision. The text that is right after the first level subdivision is the parent text of that first level subdivision. And then you have second level subdivisions here. So I can have, and you'll hear people say this. They'll say, we are modifying the parent text of first level subdivision A of section 210.70. So when they say parent text, that means that in A, there's probably other text or other either list items or second level third level subdivisions or fourth level subdivisions within that. The parent text is the text directly after whatever it is they are talking about, whether it be the first level, whether it be the section number parent text, first level subdivision parent text, second level subdivision parent text. It's the text right after that section or delineation. Joe Ballard, how you doing? I hope I said it right. Ballard. Thanks for joining us, Joe. Hello to you. And we got Felix from Colombia. And you know what, Felix? I might be at the electrical safety workshop, which is going to be in Costa Rica. And I believe it's not this year, but next year, I think. I'm working on the dates, and I don't know how far Costa Rica is from Colombia. But anyway, I might be down there next year, so stay in touch. All right, so so parent text. First, we're going to look at the parent text of 210.70. And here's what they added. They added this. Okay. Normal. So text was added as a last sentence to the parent text of 210.70. It says, The switch or wall-mounted control device shall not rely exclusively on a battery unless a means is provided for automatically energizing the lighting outlets upon battery failure. Now, I'm telling you, this is getting some debate. I'm here to tell you. Okay? That's new text. The public input, right? So the public input associated with this change I'll tell you what the issue is. I'm going to do this. Control C. Here's the concern that I remember. Remember, I just want to say this. Anything I say on my channel is my opinion and my opinion only. It is not the opinion of Eaton. It's not the opinion of NFPA. It's not the opinion of the IAEI or any other organization or the committees that I sit on. Code Making Panel 2, which is covering this requirement, and Code Making Panel 10, right? So these are all my opinion. I just want to make sure that you understand that. And my opinion might not be that of yours, okay? So you may disagree with me, and I could be technically wrong on some of this stuff. So, please be careful. Believe half of what you see and less of what you hear. I'm just saying, right? So I'm giving you my thoughts on this. I can tell you what our discussions were. That the concern was couplefold. In regard to this requirement, not relying exclusively. So remember that I believe it was the 20 code. Let's take a look at the language in the 2020. 210.70 says lighting outlets shall be installed where specified, right? And here's what we added in the 2020 code. We added in 210.70A, which is dwelling units, 1, habitable rooms, at least one lighting outlet controlled by a listed wall-mounted control device. So let's do this. During the 2020 code cycle, language was added to this section in A and B, recognizing listed wall-mounted control devices. Okay? So, what we realized is there are solutions. For example, that I could have a switch somewhere. I could be controlling a switch within my can light from, say, my phone, right? So I could sit down with my I could say if that I could control my lights, which I can. I mean, you can't see them here, but if I had my thing over there, I can control that lamp over there, and I can control these lamps from my phone because they're plugged into a control device. And now this would be then my switch, right? So I could have a wireless controller that operates off of a battery, or I'm not pulling power. I'm not pulling any power down to the light switch because it's running off of a battery, and I stuck it to the wall, okay? And this is now controlling my lights. There is no 120 volts to this at all. So the concern that we had, that I heard other members of the panel too, the concern was, what happens, A, if my battery goes out? Does it turn the lights off? And I'm in the room and my lights come off. What if I need that for a safety perspective? And this is in dwelling units, but remember, we added it Also, in guest rooms or guest suites, we said at least one lighting outlet controlled by a listed wall-mounted control device, right? And in all occupancies, we also added or listed wall-mounted control device. So it doesn't matter the structure. It can be your school. It could be the police station. It could be, I don't know, the fire station. It could be a hotel. I could use wireless control devices, which don't require any 120 volts, any drop legs, or anything like that. So the concern was you're relying on a battery operated device that could go out and it controls the lights to a large area. I mean, it says all occupancies. For attics and underfloor spaces, utility rooms, and basements, at least one lighting outlet containing a switcher control by a wall switch or listed wall-mounted control device shall be installed where these spaces are used for storage or contain equipment requiring servicing. So you're servicing something, or you're in your basement or whatnot, and you have a device that is controlling your lights. And maybe you can't turn it on, you can't turn it off, or what happens when the battery goes out? Does it turn the lights out? There's no standards associated with that. So what panel 2 said, they added this language. It said, the switch or wall-mounted control device shall not rely exclusively on a battery unless a means is provided for automatically energizing the lighting outlets upon battery failure. So this was the discussion was, and if you look at the panel statement, it says the committee recognizing the need to support illumination upon failure of the control device powered exclusively by a battery that could impede safe egress. The failure mode of a battery powered device must ensure illumination. Now, the other offline discussions, I'll tell you some of the offline discussions. Let's say that I put in a technology that requires a phone or an app, right? Let's say that I have a little module that I don't know, screw to the wall that's not powered, it's battery operated, and it's an app that controls my lights. What happens when no one's maintaining the app anymore? Now, how do I change my lights? How do I change a fixture that's built in place? So these are the discussions that I would say. I can't say that it was over the coffee pot because we weren't there. These are discussions that I experienced going and after the 2020 code. This was a debate, and these were discussions being had every time I went out to do a 2020 code change. Every time I'm talking about it and I say wall-mounted control device, they say, what is a wall-mounted control device? And could it be my cell phone, if I just mount it to the wall? Could it be that I have an iPhone? And what happens if I take my iPhone with me? Now I don't have it here. What happens when the manufacturer of the app doesn't make it anymore? And now I can't control my lights. What happens if the owner that comes in says, you know what, I don't like these newfangled lights. I want an old-fashioned light. They can't install it because it doesn't work with the app. So, and then it's going to force people to make changes. So there were all these types of discussions going on. And the public input that drove this change came from NECA, and they suggested switch-controlled lighting outlets covered in 210.70 shall be controlled by listed wall-mounted control devices that are electrically connected to the premises wiring system. That was the public comment or input. That was the input. And their substantiation was the revisions resulting from the 2020 NEC development process left this section with a big ambiguity for users. The revisions were to remove the concept of requiring a switch-controlled lighting outlet and introduce the term wall-mounted control devices. Wall-mounted control devices could include battery-operated remotes. The public inputs that resulted in changes to this section did not include substantiation to delete the implied requirements to provide a physical manual switching means at the locations mentioned in this section that are not electrically connected to the lighting branch circuit of the building with wiring system. The new text proposed for the driving language in section 210.70 corrects this issue. So what they suggested was to add the text that switch controlled lighting outlets covered in 210.70 shall be controlled by listed wall-mounted control devices that are electrically connected to the premises wiring system. Now, panel 2 obviously did not do that. They said the switch or wall-mounted control device shall not rely exclusively on a battery unless a means is provided for automatically energizing the lighting outlets upon battery failure. Now, if they would have just stopped at the switch or wall-mounted control device shall not rely exclusively on a battery, period, I could buy into that. Me, Thomas Dimitrovich, not Thomas Dimitrovich, the NEMA CMP2 panel member, not Thomas Dimitrovich, who works for Eaton. This is me talking, right? I personally do not like automatically energizing anything upon battery failure. I just don't like it. Steve Froming, if you don't mind, I let my class watch while watching to start. Yeah, absolutely. So the challenge here is, and I liked NECA's proposal. I really did. Switch control electrically connected to the premises wiring system. So they wanted to make sure we had a physical connection there, because then if I didn't want the remote control, I could wire in a regular light switch. And if I wanted to change my lights, I can do that. But what panel 2 said was the switch or wall-mounted control device shall not rely exclusively on a battery. I like that, unless the means is provided for automatically energizing the lighting outlets upon battery failure. That to me is a safety concern. I'd love to hear your opinions on it. I know of a few people that are working on some temporary interim amendments in this regard to try to get this addressed, this concern addressed. And I've seen language that's kind of complicated, and I've seen ideas of just deleting everything beyond battery. So this is definitely going to either get a TIA or a NITMAM. I don't know which one. I'm anticipating that's what's going to happen on this one. But the concern of NECA we tried to address it, but the language that we came up with is right there. So in any case, that's the 210.70. So that was in the parent text. Why is it important to put this in parent text? Because we use that language in A, dwelling units, B, guest rooms or guest suites, and C, all occupancies. So we use that generic language of listed wall-mounted control device in all of those. So we had to put something in the parent text of 210.70. All right, so during the language was added to section A and B, A and B and C. A, B, and C, recognizing listed wall-mounted control devices. The concern of some pertained to the technology and the fact that you could have an installation where there was no hardwired switch in the circuit. It is wireless and battery operated. The clarity sought was addressed with the above language. The continued concern is around automatically energizing the lighting outlets upon battery failure. Now, this brings up the discussion of do you use the light switch as your lockout tagout method to ensure you don't energize the lights while you're working on them? Or do you go back to the circuit breaker and do that? I know when I was a kid, I was the lockout tagout for my mom who would replace the ceiling fan, and I had to keep my eye on the switch and make sure nobody turned it on. Okay, so technically, we should have gone to the basement, and we didn't have a circuit breaker box in my house. It was a fuse box, those little round fuses. We should have taken a fuse out and then replaced that ceiling fan. But no, not in my house. We looked at the light switch. Is that right or wrong? I would love to hear your input on that. I would say, I'm not going to give you my opinion because I know if we've got some of our, if we've got Steve Froming's class watching this, they're probably going, oh, I can't believe he said that. So anyway, Mr. Froming in the house. All right, so panel statement. I'm just going to put panel statement, and I will correct that language. So in any case, that's what we did in the parent text, right? And that was added in the first draft, and it was remained in the second draft. And there were 4 public comments in the second draft. One, to remove all of that added new language. The second one was to remove all that added new language. The third one was just to add installed in accordance with A and C. The fourth one was to remove all of that language. So there were people that recognized that this was a challenge, but panel 2 said, you know what? No, we're doing it. And that's all I have to say about that. All right, so let's go to A. Let's go to A. What did A do? A, parent text, A1, A2. A1, A2, 210, we're on what? 210.70. 210.70 has an A1 and A2. Okay. So if you look in the 2020 code, in the parent text of A, change made to correct reference to 210.70A 3, which does not exist. So there is no A3, and I think it was deleted. A3 was deleted during the 2020 code cycle, and the reference in the parent text was not removed. So we did that. We cleaned that up. Now, habitable rooms. We added habitable rooms, kitchens, laundry areas, and bathrooms. So that was added. Let's make this underlined and red. So we added kitchens. So here was the problem. In A1, habitable rooms. If I'm not mistaken, habitable rooms. Let's look at the definition. What is a habitable room? What is a habitable room? Habitable room was a new definition. So habitable room the term habitable room is a new definition added as part of NEC 2020. And we said a room in a building for living, sleeping, eating, or cooking, but excluding bathrooms, toilet rooms, closets, hallways, storage, or utility spaces. All right, so this is now defined as a room in a building for living, sleeping, eating, or cooking, but excluding bathrooms, toilet rooms, closets, hallways, storage, or utility spaces, and similar areas. Okay, so now let's look, now knowing that's the definition, let's look at what 210.70A1 says. It says at least one lighting outlet controlled by a listed wall-mounted control device shall be installed in every habitable room, kitchen, and bathroom. Right? So the problem is the title of the section was just habitable rooms. And it threw in kitchens, and bathrooms. But a habitable room does not include bathrooms based on the definition. So we had to change the title of one, because if we were going to address bathrooms, which is already there, and we added laundry area. So I'll say the existing language of the 2020 version of the code included bathrooms in this section, in this second level subdivision, right? Second level subdivision. So the existing language of 2020 version of the code included bathrooms in this second level subdivision, which, as identified in the definition, is not a habitable room. This conflicts with the title of this second level subdivision. In addition, during this 2023 cycle, the committee added laundry area, L-A-U-N-D, laundry area, to the parent text of this second level subdivision, as well as exception number 1. Laundry area is also not a habitable room. The title of this section was changed to include habitable rooms as well as bathrooms and laundry areas. Now, kitchens. Why did we add kitchens? A room or in a building for living, sleeping, eating, or cooking. Wouldn't that be a kitchen? But excluding bathrooms, toilet rooms, closets, hallways, storage, utility spaces, and similar. I would say we didn't have to add kitchens. Kitchens was added. Kitchens was also added. But one could argue that not required. Kitchens adds clarity. So that's what I'm going to say about that. Let me see what we said in our panel statement. In our panel statement, we said the title has been changed to reflect the areas addressed in this section of the NEC. Kitchens, laundry areas, and bathrooms are not habitable areas. Ooh, is a kitchen a habitable area? It says a room in a building for living, sleeping, eating, or cooking, but excluding bathrooms, toilet rooms, closets, hallways. Why? I don't think that that's correct. What do you think? Felix says, is a balcony a habitable room? Oh boy. Wow. Balcony. That's a question. Is a balcony? I would say, does the word balcony mean a room? What's the definition of a room? A room in a building. So, Felix, I would say a balcony is not a habitable room because it says a room in a building, not on a building. And a balcony, now if the balcony was in the room, maybe. You know, you have a balcony like maybe I had a Cape Cod and I had a stairwell, but you can call it a balcony, but it was really a hallway. But if you had that, but a balcony that I think you're talking about on the outside, I would say no, it's not a habitable room because it's not inside the building. So the question would be kitchens. Are kitchens habitable rooms when eating and cooking is included in the definition? So I would beg to differ. And you know what I'm going to do? Public input. Remove kitchen from this title. That's next cycle. That's 2026. All right. So that's what we did on 1. So we added laundry area. We fixed the title. Now on 2, additional locations. Here's what we did. All right. So additional locations. At least one. So in, accessory buildings was added to list item 1. At least one lighting outlet controlled by a listed wall-mounted control device shall be installed in hallways, stairways, attached garages, detached garages, and accessory buildings with electric power. So if you have an accessory building and there's electric power going out to there, you're going to need at least one lighting outlet. Makes sense, right? I don't see why it wouldn't. That's the first change we did there. That's in list item 1. You know what I'll do? I'm going to do this. List item 1. Accessory buildings was added to require at least one lighting outlet controlled by a listed wall-mounted control device where that accessory building has electric power. Capiche? Make sense? All right. List item 1. List item 2. List item 2. And these changes were made in the first draft. No change in additional locations was made in the second draft. Oh, yeah. We did. We made one minor change to the word sloped in exception number 2. But let's read item 2. Okay, so it says for dwelling units, attached garages, and detached garages with electric power, at least one exterior lighting outlet. So the required lighting outlet for dwelling units, attached garages, and detached garages with electric power must be an exterior lighting outlet. the word exterior was added for clarity for clarity. I'm going to read our panel statement on this one. We said accessory structures are similar to attachment requiring lighting in these. Wow. Man, we did I have to say, we did a poor job in this panel statement. Really did. Let me look at the public inputs or public inputs. So Mike Dempsey wanted the accessory buildings. After the code revision for accessory building, it makes sure it makes sense. Okay, garages, detached garages, similar areas with electric power. All right, and you know, accessory buildings are similar. Wow. We did not substantiate the word exterior. I'll say for clarity. And then we added an exception for 2. For dwelling units, lighting outlets listed, wall-mounted control device shall be installed to provide. Oh, okay. All right. So you know what? It's just clarity. It's just clarity. The word is added for clarity. The existing language notes that the lighting outlet must provide illumination on the exterior side of outdoor entrances or exits with grade level access. So we just added exterior lighting for clarity. That's all we did. All right, so now we have a new exception. A new exception was added for this list item. And what it says, is it new? Is it new? Exception 2, for an outdoor grade level sloped bulkhead door. For an outdoor grade level bulkhead door with stairway access to a subgrade level basement, the required lighting outlet that provides illumination on the stairway steps shall be permitted to be located in the basement interior within 5 foot horizontally of the bottommost stairway riser. This interior lighting outlet shall be permitted to be controlled by a listed wall-mounted control device or by a unit switch of the interior luminaire or interior lamp holder. Now, shall be permitted to be controlled by an occupancy sensor. So lighting out should be controlled by occupancy sensors. I don't see that exception anywhere else. Hey, Steve. Take care, buddy. Excellent. Thank you for joining in. Have a great class. Call me when you have no class. Okay, so exception to 2, for an outdoor grade level sloped bulkhead door. We did not justify that exception. Wow. All right. A new exception was added to this list item that permits an interior lighting outlet for an outdoor grade level bulkhead door with stairway access to a subgrade level basement, right? As long as it meets specific requirements dealing with location and control. The lighting outlet must be within 5 foot of 5 foot horizontally of the bottommost stairway riser. And it is permitted to be controlled by a listed wall-mounted control device or by a unit switch of the interior luminaire or interior lamp holder. So that's an exception. And then we'll do list item 3. Okay, list item 3. Wow. Where lighting outlets are installed for an interior stairway with 6 or more risers between floor levels, there should be a listed wall-mounted control device at each floor level and at each landing level that includes a stairway entry to control the lighting outlets. We just reworded this. Reworded for clarity. I don't think we changed the requirements. And here's my argument. It says, it says, what it used to say was where one or more lighting outlets are installed for interior stairways, there shall be listed wall-mounted control device at each floor level and landing level that includes an entryway to control the lighting outlets where the stairway between floor levels has 6 risers or more. So all we said was where lighting outlets are installed for an interior stairway with 6 or more risers between floor levels, it's already there. There shall be a listed wall-mounted control device at each floor level and at each landing level that includes a stairway entry to control the lighting outlets. So all we did, reworded for clarity. The intent and requirement did not change. That's all we did was reword that for clarity. And then in the exception to 1, 2, and 3, remote central or automatic control of lighting shall be permitted in hallways or stairways and at outdoor entrances. So, yep. And the exception for 1, 2, and 3 were, the exception was modified for clarity and style manual issues. So that's list item 3. Now, list item 4. What do we do there? Dimmer, okay, so, and again, it's clarity. What it used to say, here's what it used to say. Lighting outlets controlled in accordance with 210.70A2.3 shall not be controlled by use of a listed wall-mounted control device unless they provide the full range of dimming control at each location. So what we said, the change that we made, dimmer control of lighting outlets installed in accordance with 210.70A2.3 shall not be permitted unless the listed control devices can provide dimming control to maximum brightness at each control location for the interior stairway illumination. So the intent was not changed. This list item was reworded for clarity. The full range was changed to maximum brightness. Maximum brightness. I'm not sure if I like that, but for the interior stairway illumination. So that's all we did there. So the changes that we see here are for clarity. All right. B, guest rooms or guest suites. No change in the first revision. No change in the second revision. All occupancies, no changes. So no changes. And no changes. All right. And that is 210.70. There we go. All right, that's 210. We completed Article 210. What do you think about that? I think that's kind of fun. All right. Boom chakalaka boom. I'll plug my phone in. All right. Alrighty. I'm just going to double check here. Yep. Okay. We are going to move into we are going to be moving into a new section. Look at that. Article. We're going to be moving to Article 215, feeders. And I have not done anything yet in feeders. So Article 215, we are screaming here. 215 feeders. You got to go to your Terra view and open up feeders in both the first draft and second draft. Okay, exception. This article does not apply to feeders for electrolytic cells. So 215, Article 215, we'll say first off, right off the bat, 215.1. The exception was reworded for clarity. No change to intent or application. I don't know, enforcement, whatever. So 215.1 did not change. The exception just says instead of feeders for electrolytic cells as covered in 668.3C1 and C4, that's the exception that was reworded to say this article does not apply to feeders for electrolytic cells as covered. So just adding some clarity. 215.2. 215.2, minimum size. In the first draft, all right, so this is what we're going to do. We're going to put the structure in. A is feeders not more than 1,000 volts. So that's A. And then we got general. And we got 2, grounded conductor. We have 3, ampacity relative to service conductors. And that's it. Right? Okay. Oh, we did make some changes here. A1, 2, and 3. Wow. Here's what we're going to do. I'm going to put a table in. So, and I've done this on other areas. I'm going to put this, and this is going to be NEC 2020, and this will be NEC 2023. So, Control C, Control V, right? So, and then we had B. B is feeders over 1,000 volts. And you know what happened to over 1,000 volts? We moved a lot of that to other areas within the code. One is feeders supplying transformers. 2 is feeders supplying transformers and utilization equipment. 3 is supervised installations. Okay, so that is 215.2. Now in the 2023, we have a general. Ooh, doggy. A general. 1 continuous and non-continuous loads. 2 ampacity adjustment or correction factors. And then we got B, grounded conductor. And then we have C, 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 senor, ampacity relative to service conductors. Wow. Okay. Talk about changing, right? All right, so here's what happened. Let's analyze this. Okay. Bold. So we have feeders. Now we know, okay, so first level subdivision B for feeders over 1,000 volts was moved to new article 235, which now addresses medium voltage feeders. Okay, so we created 235 for medium voltage branch circuits, feeders, outdoor feeders, and services, I think. We'll take a look at what the new title is for that. So that means B, all of B got moved. So there's no more B. Now we have just A, and you can't have one first level subdivision. So, and now the entire 215.2 only deals with feeders not more than 1,000 volts. So you don't need A, right? You don't need A. You have general. There is general. You have grounded conductor. There is grounded conductor. You have ampacity relative to service conductors. it looks like ampacity relative. Let's take a look at what ampacity relative to service conductors used to say. The feeder conductor ampacity shall not be less than that of the service conductors. The feeder conductor ampacity, that's now C. So that became C. Grounded conductor became B. So all of this was moved. And we're going to say the following was moved. I say that down below. I'm not going to put it in twice. All right, so that's what we got. A. So you had an A and you had a B. B went away, or moved. It moved. It didn't go away, it moved. General went to first level subdivision A. Grounded conductor went to first level subdivision B. Ampacity relative to service conductors went to C. And A was then, we had two second level subdivisions, 1 and 2. Let's look at what the old 215.2 general. Okay. Yep. All right. So remember, in general, in general, you had an A and you had a B. Right, so A was where a feeder supplies continuous loads or any combination of continuous and non-continuous loads. Look what they did. We created a second level subdivision called continuous and non-continuous loads, and we put that text there. And then you had B, the minimum feeder or conductor size shall have an ampacity not less than the maximum load to be served after the application of adjustment or correction factors in accordance with 310.14. And what do? We created a second level subdivision called ampacity adjustment or correction factors, and we put the text that was in 215.2A1B there, or there. Okay, and then the grounded conductor, and then the ampacity, that became a B and a C. So we have 3 first level subdivisions now in 215.2, and 215. The first level subdivision A titled general, we have 2 second level subdivisions titled continuous and non-continuous loads, and 2 ampacity adjustment or correction factors. We did not change the intent nor the requirements, but we did restructure. So we can say a restructuring occurred in 215.2 to address the movement of 215.2b medium voltage feeder circuit requirements to new Article 235, which addresses the same. With that move, the existing contents were reorganized / renumbered accordingly. Old 215.2A1 is now 215.2 A, old 215.2A2 is now 215.2B. Old 215.2A3 is now 215.2C. So that's what we did. So we didn't change the intent. We did not change the requirements. You still size the feeder the right way. That way, minimum rating and size is still addressed the same way. But we had to reorganize it because we moved the medium voltage information to a different article. Capiche? Capiche. All right. Okay. All righty. So okay, now that is 215.2, right? So let's just look, make sure. Right, that's basically what we did. Yep. All right, so let's see, feeders over 215.3. So let's go to, okay, so what I'll do with this is, okay, here's what I got to do. 215.2. I'm just going to delete this. All right. I think we've explained what happened in this section adequately. All right, now let's talk about 215.3 overcurrent protection. 215.3, no changes. Right? 215.4. 215.4. We didn't see no changes. Hold on. We don't have changes until $215.9. No changes. No changes. No changes. And the reason I'm doing this is because I just want to make sure I know that I actually looked at it. So no changes in any of those. 215.9 requires the ground fault circuit interrupter to be listed. So we added the word listed. That's what we did in 215.9. And that didn't change. 215.10. 215.10 moved the 600 volts maximum to 1000 volt maximum in accordance with other areas of the NEC that made this same move in voltage level. In addition, the informational note was also modified for clarity, no intended change in the informational note other than meeting the requirements of the style manual. Okay, that's all we did in 215.10. Piece of cake. 215, and so why did we go from 600 to 1,000? That change was driven by photovoltaic systems. I think over the last two code cycles, I'd say at least 6 years, they have been moving from 600 to 1,000 volts. And what the driving factor there was in photovoltaic applications, they took that inverter and they stripped out the transformer. Okay, what does that do? An inverter has you have DC on one side, AC on the other side. You've got the inversion hardware. You've got a transformer in there that changes the voltage. So they want to reduce that cost, reduce the weight. They removed the transformer. So what does that do? That required you have to do something about the voltages and how you're going to handle the voltages. So the voltages on the roof on the DC side are higher. The inverter inverted it to a higher voltage. They did not want to have the requirements because if it was 1,000 volts or 695 volts, whatever the volts were, 695, 696, whatever it takes, right? They didn't want to have meet the medium voltage requirements because it adds a lot of cost. So there was a correlating committee task group assigned to look at this. And what they basically did was went throughout the National Electrical Code and changed everything from 600 to 1,000. Some panels did it right away, some panels did not. Code Panel 2 was one of those who wanted to hang on to the 600 volts. Well, no more. We moved it to 1,000. So anyway, that's all I have to say about that. Okay, so that's 215. That's 215.10. Ground fault protection of equipment. 215.11, no changes. 215.11, no changes. 215.11, no changes. 215.12. 215.12. It looks like C1. 215.12. I think we're going to get done with 215. 215.12 C1, C1A, and C1B. So, very minor changes in 210.12 C1 to be more specific. And clarity as to the exact section being referenced. So, for example, I'll give you an example. In 215.C1, we said compliance with 215.12 C1A and B. We added C1B. So it says compliance with 215.12 C1A and C1B. Didn't change the intent. No requirement change. Just clarity. That's it. And then, okay, 215.C, that's the no other changes there. Okay, 215.15. All right. 215.15, barriers. That is a new section. This is heading 2. Okay, new section, recognizing the hazards of equipment when supplied by transformers and secondary and tapped conductors. All right, so I'll tell you the issue here. We're going to finish 215 and I'm done calling it a day. Barriers shall be placed such that no uninsulated, ungrounded bus bar or terminal is exposed to inadvertent contact by persons or maintenance equipment while servicing load terminations in panel board, switchboard, switchgear, or motor control centers supplied by feeder taps in 240.21b or transformer secondary conductors in C when the disconnecting device to which the tap conductors are terminated in the open position. Okay. We're going to break this one down because this is very complicated language. So, you know what this needs? This needs some coffee. All right. Let's break this down. I've had questions on this one. So, barriers, no insulated, ungrounded bus bar or terminals exposed to inadvertent contact by persons or maintenance equipment while servicing load terminations in panel board, switchboard, switchgear, or motor control centers supplied by feeder taps in or transformer secondary conductors with, and this last sentence is critical, format bullets. All right. Barriers. So we know we need barriers placed such that no uninsulated, ungrounded bus bar or terminal is exposed to inadvertent contact while servicing load terminations in panel board, switchboard, switchgear, or motor control centers supplied by feeder taps, blah, 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 when the disconnecting device to which the tap conductors are terminated in the open position. So when there should be is. All right, so that, I'm going to highlight that red because I think when the disconnecting device to which the tap conductors are terminated is in the open position, or with. So that's now with, you don't need is, with the disconnecting device is within the, when the disconnecting device, with the disconnecting device in the open position. What does that mean? I think I'm going to need a picture. I need a, hold on. Here's what I'm going to need to do. I need to get one of my PowerPoints. Okay, so where do I keep it? Where were you tonight? Why did you leave me here all alone? Where's my, I need my transformer. I need my transformer presentation. Let me go back to documents. TDSDN. All right. Tech Thursday. Where is... I'm going to search for transformer. One line? That's a transformer now, right? Transformer placement? Nope. Sorry, close that. Oh man, I need a transformer. I need my transformer. Where's it at? Copper weld. So what? Terminations. All right, we're going back to Plan B. We're going to Plan B. Technical presentations. Oh no, I remember where it's at. TD tutorials. Transformer. Bum, 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 bum. All right. Okay, so here's the situation. So if I have this, and let me copy this. Control C. Control V. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so if I look at this, it says barriers should be placed such a so let's do this. I'm going to rearrange this a little bit. I'm going to do a Control X. I'm going to put this first. Okay, I think this is going to help. With the disconnecting device in the open position to which the tap conductors are terminated. So this device is that secondary transformer or the tap conductors is terminated on that overcurrent protective device. So with that overcurrent protective device in the open position, open meaning all of these are not energized. Barriers shall be placed such that no uninsulated, ungrounded bus bar or terminal is exposed to inadvertent contact by persons or maintenance equipment. So these, in the case of me turning this in the open position, these primary lugs are energized. So I need to have barriers in this location such that no uninsulated, so that I cannot expose my electrical worker to a shock hazard. Right? So while they're servicing load terminations in panel board, switchboard, switchgear, or motor control centers. So if I am servicing the load terminations here and I turn this to the off position, I can't expose my electrical worker to shock, and I have to barrier off that line side termination. That's what that language is saying. So you have to rearrange it a little bit to really understand what we're saying in here. Now, the only thing I could argument I could say is it says with the disconnect device to which the tap conductors are terminated. The transformer secondary conductors are not tap conductors. Those are transformer secondary conductors. Well, we should have said with the disconnecting device to which the tap conductors or transformer secondary conductors are terminated. Okay, so this is what we're going to do. We're going to go Control C. Public input. Underline and red. That is what is needed for this section. We need to add or transformer secondary conductors are terminated. That's what we need. And we also need an exception. When the transformer has an integrated overcurrent protective device no, I don't need that exception. Because if I have a transformer that has a built-in overcurrent protective device on the secondary of the transformer, that is no longer a transformer secondary conductor, that's a feeder. So that would not require barriers because I have a feeder. All right. I'm liking it. All right. So hopefully that helps you understand what this language means in 215.15. All right. And then there is another new section. That's 215.15. There is another new section. 215.18. And this one is called surge protection. This is a new section addressing when a feeder supplies any of the following. 1, dwelling units, dormitory units, guest rooms, and guest suites of hotels and motels, areas of nursing homes and limited care facilities used exclusively as patient sleeping rooms. A new section addressing when surge protection is provided, where the surge protection must be provided, and the type of surge protection to be provided. It also addresses replacements, and surge protective device ratings. It is separated into surge protective device, location, type, replacement, and ratings. Those are the first level subdivisions. So, and it's, and a feeder that supplies any of the following. Must have an SPD installed in or adjacent to the distribution equipment containing branch circuit overcurrent protective devices that supply these locations. Boom, 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 boom. There is an exception. There is no, there isn't. No, there isn't. There is no exception. The SPD must be a type 1 or type 2 device. Rated with a nominal discharge rating, nominal discharge current rating, not less than 10 kA. When distribution equipment that is supplied by this feeder for the locations identified in this section is replaced, comma, all of these requirements apply. So you need to add that. Notice 215.18. All right, so that's a new section for 215, and I will put in some of the solutions that are available for that. All right. Okay, well, we got through 215. We got through 210. We've already gone through chapter 1. We didn't do article 100, but we got through a lot of those. Alrighty, well, hopefully you got something out of those sessions. So 210 is done. 215. I mean, we've got a structure. We know what the changes are. I got to go back in and put some pictures, add some more little dialogue, make it pretty, and make sure you have some information there. Hopefully you can. Hopefully that will will help you out. All right. So I'm just looking and making sure I got my T's crossed and my I's dotted. Do this. All right. Okay, so that's all I have to say about that. So that is Article 210 and 215. I will break those out into small chunks so that we have little videos for each of those. Hopefully you guys and gals got something out of that. And thanks for, if you tuned in either live or if you're watching this later, thanks for joining in. I really appreciate that. And thanks for what you do for the electrical industry. And thank you for what you do for electrical safety. So we will probably be live again tomorrow, I would think, at some point. All right. Thank you. Take care. Stay safe. And please stay healthy.